guys. You guys, right now you have a sub today, and you should have this worksheet. I'm making this video mainly so that you have something to refer to. Okay, a little bit of notes per se, so that if you're getting stuck, you should be right here watching this video so that you can get yourself unstuck and move on and be able to finish the 18 problems. Okay, so remember you are turning in this worksheet at the end of class. Okay. So without further ado, let me get rid of my ugly mug. Get out of here, ugly mug. And I'm going to go over some of the problems. So just a reminder, when you're starting with the plotting points and the naming points, okay, the reason why this is important is because you don't want to say you're choosing a data point when you're solving or graphing an inequality and accidentally do it wrong. So 2, 4, okay, is 2 to the right and 4 up. 2 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. That was where 2, 4 would belong. Okay, the data point 2, 4. Okay, letter B, negative 4, 1, 2, 3, negative 4 on the X and negative 1 on the Y. Okay, that's where that data point would go. 0, 3, it's 0 right and left, but 3 up. So it would be 0, 3. And finally 5, negative 2. 5 to the right, 5 on the x-axis, and then negative 2 on the y-axis. So it would be 5, negative 2. Okay, now I'm going the other direction and naming data points. Okay, for letter A, the x value is negative 5. The y value is negative 3. Okay, for letter B, the x value here on the x-axis, it's at negative 3. On the y-axis, it's at positive 2. For letter C, on the x-axis is at 2, but it's not, it's at 0 on the y-axis. You don't actually go up or down any. And for letter D, the x-axis, it's at 4. And on the y-axis, it is at 5. Okay, so those are our data points that we would use. Now, kind of help you understand how you're doing part 1. In part 1, I went ahead and put the dots on the graph. Okay, so you got to make sure you're doing the correct type of line, whether it's open or closed, and then you are testing a data point that is not on the line. Okay, so I'm going to do number 3, and I'm going to do number 5 with you. So for number 3, our inequality here has an or equal to, so this would be a closed line. So I'm going to try to carefully draw my closed line here. Okay, and then I need to test a data point. Now, in this particular one, 0, 0 is available to test. So I'm going to plug 0, 0 in to my inequality, and I'm going to test to see whether I get a true statement or a false statement. So 0 for y, negative 3/5, 0 for x. Okay, so on the left side I have a 0. On the right side, when I do that problem, remember you can just straight type it in your Desmos. Negative 3/5 times 0 minus 3, that is negative 3. Remember, we're trying to see whether it's true or false. 0 is the bigger number, and that is written correctly. So 0, 0 is a solution. So what that tells me in extension is that all of these data points on this side are also solutions. Okay, and I would color those in. Okay. Now remember, this is closed. These data points that are on the line, including all the decimals, those are also solutions. Okay, number 5, if you want to see number 5 here. Now with number 5, I do want you to notice I had to solve this. So I didn't show all the work, but I solved that particular equation so that it was in slope-intercept form, and I was able to put it on the graph. Now, you can see my dots here, but notice this one does go through 0. So you can see the dot here at 0, and then I went down 5, right 2 to make our other data points. Now, I have to pay attention to what type of line I'm supposed to use. In this particular inequality, it does not have the or equal to part, so this should be an open line. And the way I demonstrate an open line is to make a dotted line. This is open. Okay, remember the significance of open means these data points are not actually solutions. Now, unfortunately, one of the data points that are on the line is 0, 0, so I can no longer use 0, 0. I have to use another value. So I'm going to choose to use the data point 1, 1. You can choose any data point you want, that's just my decision. 1, 1. So I'm going to put 1 in for x. I'm going to put 1 in for y. And I'm going to test to see whether I get this data point, whether it's a true statement or a false statement. Okay, so type that into my Desmos. 5 times 1 plus 2 times 1. That is 7. And 0 is not the bigger value, so this is a false statement. So if 1, 1 is on the side with the false statements, I have to shade the other side of my line. Okay, so I would be shading over here. That's where all the true statements have to be. Okay? Now, when it comes to doing the whole process, okay, if you want to see one of these, go ahead and go to 19. It's a blank graph, and I'll show you how to do the whole process on a couple of these. Okay, for 19, I'm going to do the inequality. Y is greater than, let's just go negative 2x plus 4. Okay, so I need to start off by making data points for my line. Okay, this one starts at 4, so on the y-axis I'm putting a dot at 4. And then my slope number is the negative 2. Okay, I need to go down 2 and right 1. And I'm going to follow that pattern to make extra data points. You should make all the data points possible in both directions. Okay? So from here, this is an open line. Okay? And I know that because of the inequality sign, and then I'm going to test 0, 0. Okay, so we're testing 0, 0. You're testing 0, 0. And make sure you are using your inequality. So 0 goes for y. 0 goes for x. And I test this out. Okay, so I would get 0 on the left side. On the right side, negative 2 times 0 plus 4 is 4. 4 is actually the bigger value. So this is false. And since that is false, remember we would shade the other side. Okay? Now, number 20, I'm going to do one that is not in slope intercept. So let's just go with this one. Let's go with 3x minus 2y is less than or equal to 1. No, I don't want to do 1. Sorry, I apologize. Let's go with okay, so first thing, I'm gonna have to put my dots on the graph, and I'm gonna need slope-intercept form. So I'm gonna have to take this and I'm going to have to solve it. Okay, so for my solving, we're getting y by itself. I would need to move the 3x, so minus 3x on both sides. Drop down the negative 2y. I would get 4 minus 3x. And then divide both sides by negative 2. So the line I'm putting on the graph here, 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. Negative 3x divided by negative 2 is positive 3 over 2x. So start putting it on our line. Now that I have my slope-intercept form, I know it starts at negative 2, so down 2 on the y. I also know that the slope is 3 over 2. So that would be up 3, right 2. Up 3, right 2. Up 3, right 2. And I need to go in reverse, down 3 and left 2. Okay, this one is a closed line. So I'm going to draw a closed line. Make sure you're checking for that. I know I would sometimes forget. And then I get to test 0, 0 again because it's not on my line. So when I test 0, 0, I would get 3 times 0. Remember, you are using the original inequality. 3 times 0 minus 2 times 0 less than or equal to 4. 3 times 0 minus 2 times 0 is 0. 4 is the bigger number, so this is actually a true statement. And since this is true, I would shade all of this side. Okay? Now hopefully seeing some of these examples can help. Need you to finish the worksheet if you haven't already. Okay? Make sure you remember this is getting turned into the sub. Okay? When you are finished, y'all have a great day, and we will see you right back on Monday.